Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Horror Debate. I'm Michael Mandy and he's Rowdy Jeff.
Indeed I am, and this week, Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. He lives in a Strangeland from 1990, what is it, 8?
Yeah, 98.
How long ago is that? That's almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Wow, it doesn't seem possible.
Yeah, directed by John Pipelow. Written by Dee Snider. And I think he produced it also.
Well, you know, this movie fits him perfectly, man. I mean, what better character could Dee come up with
than Captain Howdy?
Captain freaking Howdy. I like the character. In fact, I like the whole thing. I like the the viciousness of this character, man. This is good stuff.
Yeah, well, this movie came out in 98, and it didn't do too well at the box office. And I think if this movie had been released in 2007 or 2006, it would have done a lot better.
Yeah.
I think the whole concept of the whole body piercing and the pain and the loud, obnoxious music thing was really fresh and new back then.
Well, so was the instant messaging thing, and also the chat room craze was happening back in 98. And, honestly, I mean, it was kind of a sign of the times at that particular moment. I mean, everybody was getting on the chat rooms. And there was this big thing about privacy and about are your kids safe in the chat rooms? You know, all this talk going on. And so I could see why, this was made in that time frame. Although I think you're probably right now that more people are familiar with that sort of thing and use it on a regular basis.
Yeah, back then it was more disturbing to see someone being tortured on screen and having something being pierced.
Exactly.
Whereas now, heck, you see it at any high school nowadays.
Well, run down the plot for us, Mike.
Well, the basic plot, actually this is kind of interesting because there's not really a running narrative on this in terms of there's a beginning, middle, and end of a section, and then it picks up again. I don't know. How can I explain this? When you think the movie's over, but it's only 30 minutes into it, and then the movie takes off in a different direction.
Well, just explain what we're dealing with.
Okay, well, you think it starts out as just a psycho, weird, nasty guy hunting down teenagers and torturing and killing them.
I'm going to tell Dee you said that about him.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And then the movie turns into, he goes into what happens after he gets arrested and he gets rehabilitated and how he tries to get fit back into society once he gets released. And then what happens after that. What can I say without giving anything away?
Well, I like the way this was constructed.
It's definitely in 3 acts. And whereas you think that a movie's over at the end of 1 act, it then takes you somewhere else.
Yeah, but this was constructed really well.
Yeah.
I like the way it's in 3 acts, man, because it lets you see a different side of your main antagonist, which in a lot of movies you don't get to see.
And it also makes you think, is he really the antagonist now?
Right.
I mean, yeah, he was in Act 1, but now in Act 2, bad things happen to him. And I found myself saying, is that justified?
And the cameo from Freddy Krueger, right?
How can you go wrong with Freddy Krueger?
I mean, it turns out he ends up to be somewhat of the antagonist in Act 2, right?
Yeah, well, he starts out being someone you wanted to cheer for, and then afterwards you turn, it's interesting the way it's written, how you have your allegiances, but then in the second act, you start seeing more gray areas, and you start to turn your perspectives.
It's a great dynamic.
Yeah.
It's a great storytelling dynamic to be able to take your main character, make him the complete bad guy, and then suddenly you find yourself
being
somewhere midway through the movie being sympathetic to this guy, and then you're back to hating him again. Which it's a great dynamic. It works fantastically well in this movie. I hadn't watched this in a long time, Mike. I mean, I probably saw this, maybe 6 years ago, the last time I watched it. And I like it just as well today as I did back then.
I like it more now. When 1999, when it came out on video, is when I first saw it, and it disturbed me. I mean, because back then I wasn't used to seeing people with, this pierced and that pierced and the loud, obnoxious music.
Oh, come on, Mike, you're pierced.
Yeah. And what I'm just saying, now that we have become desensitized to that, but this was back when it was on the cutting edge.
Do you think we are desensitized to that sort of thing?
Yes, I think we are.
I mean,
the fact that there's a new Saw movie every year proves it.
Well, and I was going to mention, this is really kind of the precursor to Saw / Hostel / Teresa / Captivity / You know what I mean? I mean, this is really the precursor. Dee was brilliant when he came up with this thing.
The horror movies up
this
until
is where it's going.
up until this movie came out, a horror movie just showed a teenager running or whatever, someone, and then going, haha, making a thrusting motion. The person had a little bit of
this is a family show.
A little bit of red Caro syrup on the end of a fake knife, and then the scene would cut away to someone else.
Right.
Whereas this focused, and you showed someone standing up getting tortured and screaming and crying, and then seeing things like their lips sewn shut, and seeing the lady actually rip them off so she could scream. You know,
I'd like to get like Dee's Nightmares in like a creep show kind of movie, right? Where I could just see what this guy thinks of. I mean, it's unbelievable the stuff he came up with for this movie.
It's pretty. Yeah, I'm surprised he got financing for it.
It's incredible, and you know he wants to do a Strangeland 2.
Yeah, there's some kind of problem with the producer owns the rights or something.
Yeah,
they won't give them up.
But so what? You know, let's get it going, folks.
I think the main problem with this film was the awful fire suit at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
That was really awful.
He only looked about 3 times thicker than what he was.
Oh, jeez. It looked like they switched Dee Snider and put, like, Steven Seagal in this place, you know? I mean, it was horrible.
Well, you know what? This movie did have a few little parts that I kind of, you know, just winced at because they was like, oh, that's bad, or oh, that's cheesy. But
yeah, every time Steve Christian, the partner...
Oh, he was bad!
Brett Harrelson.
He won my worst actor for this 90-minute movie award. He was terrible. Every time he came on the screen, I was like, oh, my God.
Well, everything he's done since this movie has gone straight to video.
Yeah, so should he.
Oh.
But,
yeah,
you know what?
Every time he was on the screen, you just went, oh, just shut up and go away.
This
was awful.
This is a testament to the vision of Dee Snider. Because, as I said, you know, this is the precursor to where we are today, and we're talking 10 years on.
I mean, this is not a Twisted Sister vanity project.
No.
I mean, I really think even if you're not a Twisted Sister fan, have no idea who Dee Snider is, you should check this film
Was he
out.
an imposing mother in this movie, or
he
what?
Was scary looking.
He was huge.
Yeah.
It was great camera work to make Dee look huge.
Even bigger.
You know, even
he's
bigger
a
than
big
what he
guy
was.
to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, every time you saw him, it was a low camera angle.
Great camera
and he was
angles.
in good shape.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and
half the
then
face tatted. It
piercings
was wonderful, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
All right, how are you going to do
this? You know,
this?
this is a 4-star flick, Mike.
Yeah. Even despite Brett Harrelson and Elizabeth
You know
Pena?
what? He doesn't even factor into the equation. Anybody could have played that role and done it 10 times better than he did.
That's right. That's why should we punish this film for letting him stay?
Yeah, he did not run the movie. The movie had a great storyline. Like I said, it was a vision towards the future of what we're into now as far as the horror movies go. You got to give it credit just for that. I thought Dee did a remarkable job in playing the Captain Howdy. It was certainly pertinent back in '98 as far as the chat rooms and the computer age kind of kicking into high gear, and it's even more pertinent now. You know, in a lot of ways. You know, it's a slick deal. I enjoyed it this time around again. Like I said, it's probably been about 6 years since I watched the flick. You know, and I'll tell you what, man. There's not a lot of seams in this movie. There's a few little things that are annoying.
I think all the seams in it are not Dee Snider's as the writer.
Right.
They're not his fault. It's the acting.
Well, but we're not judging Dee Snider. We're judging the movie, you know, which is why it didn't get a 5, because I think as far as Dee's vision goes, this is as good as it gets. But, you know, there were a few flaws here and there, but the storytelling is pretty seamless, and it's very realistic in a lot of ways. So it's certainly a solid 4. I'd love to see a Strangeland 2 happen, and hopefully they can work out the legal wranglings on that. But, yeah, I recommend that everybody checks this one out.
Yeah, good movie. Like I said, I'm torn between 3 and 4.
But why the heck wasn't it in Dolby Digital?
I don't know.
What are they doing? Why was this 2.0 crap?
Well, what is the copyright year on the DVD?
Dolby Digital was out in 96 or 98 or whatever it was. I mean, come on. They were calling it AC3, you know, but still. I mean, come on, folks. Dolby Digital, this mess.
Well, you know, this movie is on Monsters HD, so probably if you got a new disc,
it would be remastered into 5.1. Yeah. I don't necessarily think they repressed it. You know, as far as a DVD goes. I mean, I would like to see this actually come out on like HD DVD or Blu-ray with a completely new treatment and maybe have some extras. You know, some cutouts from production or something. I think the DVD was fairly bare bones. especially in the sound department, like I said. But it's inexcusable to me to have a decently recent movie. And 10 years, that's not, we had the technology, right? So it's inexcusable to have a movie like this in 2-channel, Dolby surround garbage, I want my 5.1 discrete. Redo the disc, folks, or HD it. Show me an HD. If it can be on HD, whatever, right? Monsters HD, it can be on Blu-ray or HD DVD, right?
Yeah, they've already done the computer work on it, right?
Release it.
All right, I'm Michael Mandy. He's Rowdy Jeff. We'll talk to you next week at the Horror Debate.